So I came across this Google Charts option when I was looking a little bit through in the w3schools.com site. And I thought, this would be really interesting if you could add this as a web object in StoryLine, but feed it variables from StoryLine instead of having hard-coded numbers in here. So you can see if you look directly on this chart, if I put in change some of these numbers around. I work for 9 hours. I spend about an hour eating. I don't quite watch that much TV. Let's say I don't go to the gym at all and I sleep for 8 hours. When I hit run, my chart over here updates with those new values. It dropped gym completely off. So it's in theory, would be really nice if you could feed those in with variables. So I took a shot at coding out what that page would look like and included in a call to the player. And because this will be in an iframe when published inside of the overall player page, I added in that parent to go up a level from where the page is located to get the player from the parent window and load that into a variable called player. And then down here for my values, I can call the player, I can get the variable, and I have within my StoryLine file 5 variables, variable 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so in my StoryLine file, you can see I have a place to input those different variables. So how much time do you spend working, eating, watching TV, at the gym, sleeping, etc. And those input fields, when you hit next, on the next slide, we have the web object that is basically pointing to that, that page that I was just showing, the HTML page that's an index.html page sitting in a folder. So that all is fine and dandy. And one last thing you'll notice, oops, that's not what I wanted. On those variables, I did give them each a default value of 1, and that was just for troubleshooting purposes to make sure that it was drawing the graph. So by default, even if I made no changes, I should get a graph of 5 equal pie shapes. When I publish to and post this on our learning management system, indeed, what I get is, here's my graph, I can hit next. It draws it, pulls it in, there's all my default values. If, however, and this doesn't matter, if I came in immediately to this page and had not gone to the graph, but had started making some changes here. So I put in 9 hours of work, 1 hour eating, let's say 3 hours TV, 2 hours at the gym, 6 hours of sleep, and I hit next. I get this other with 100%. It's not actually pulling the values in. Now, here's where it gets a little interesting. If I go back into my learning management system and I relaunch that content, I pull that up here into the recording window. And if I resume where I left off, it now, so essentially refreshing the page, it now has those values here. So it is recognizing the variables. It is getting the variables. There's just something about the timing of when the page is loaded, and there's not a way that I know or that I've been able to find to refresh the content inside of the iframe with those new variables. It's like the page is loading with the course and loading with those default values, and once you change the values, it doesn't reflect the changed values, but it doesn't reflect the initial values either. So there's something really strange going on, and I suspect it has something to do with the call to the Google Charts, but I'm not quite certain what's happening. So if any of you have any brilliant ideas on how to reload the page within the iframe and have it on that reload make a new call to StoryLine to get the values and pull those values in, that would be greatly appreciated. I hope that this makes sense as to what I'm trying to do and where the issues are, and I will post the HTML index page as well as the dummy StoryLine file that I put together for this for you to look at as well and experiment with. Again, any help that you can provide, greatly appreciated.